Hello ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm your host AirsoftAL, and before we begin, a huge shout out to Matt, aka the Pew Dude, who actually helped make this review possible. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's no secret that PCCs are now the rage, which means that the era of the PCC has returned for its second wind, although it could be argued it never left in the first place, considering that the first time we saw the PCC come around in our collective consciousness was about late 80s and the 90s. It wasn't until about the early 2000s that PCCs kind of just petered out, I guess you could say. But, much like anything nowadays, the fact that the 80s are back, mixed with the 90s, we're going back to what's comfortable and nostalgic. It makes sense that we talk about, of course, pistol caliber carbines, considering the price of ammo is a lot cheaper in pistol calibers than rifle calibers. Unless, of course, you reload your own ammo, then about as, although that is substantially arguative, I guess you could make an argument about, but yeah, it's one of those things. But today we're talking about G&G. G&G, of course, is a lovely company. And, well, they've been making a name for themselves as of late. They've been coming out swinging with technology to compete against Tokyo Marui. And even much more so, again, thanks to SHOT Show and Iwa, which, if you haven't seen those, check out airsoft.nu. They actually do cover all the massive stuff when it comes to airsoft. And G&G and Tokyo Marui arguably could be said they're having a bit of a contest to see who's better, constantly trying to one-up each other. And no more clear is this scene than their PCCs, with Tokyo Marui coming out swinging with, of course, an updated version of their ARP9. Not just the ARP9 2.0, but also the ARP9 Raider, which is based off of their combat machines. Which before, the combat machine was a great beginning gun back in the day when it was around the sub 120 to around 120 price tag. Now, they're almost as much as a lot of other mid-tier guns nowadays. And this one, of course, is back before that price gouge. Although, arguably... But moving on. So before even getting into the gun itself, let's talk about the box. The box is your standard G&G affair. It has that lovely bit of just, we're number 1, 9th year in a row, being awarded Airsoft Choice. And of course all this honestly cool techno design. I do love the cyberpunk stuff, I really do. You, of course, have the Super Rangers Jade, which I will be talking about that in the... But, sad to say, because this is released in America, you don't get the Jade metal flash hider. Oh well. The back of it, of course, not a lot of anything, just basic stuff, not even really anything. The only real upside to this is, of course, the carry handle, which I do absolutely like. I love when a box actually makes it very easy for you to carry. Now, of course, we can't talk about this without talking about the gun itself, but before we can even get into the gun, we of course talk about the manual. The manual, legit, is actually pretty good. It comes in Taiwanese, English, Espanol, Parlez-vous Français, and of course, Japanese. And it legit does tell you how to work the entire thing, including the very much so interesting programmable trigger that can do 3-round burst. Which gets to the other thing of this having a MOSFET. A MOSFET that actually you will see in the gameplay portion of this review. But let's talk about the gun. The gun being honestly interesting. Polymer lower, metal upper. Well, metal upper in the sense of it's got polymer, but the handguard is metal, and the Jade is once again very nice, very beautiful. The G&G logo on the stock that I want to kind of talk about because it's definitely interesting design. You have 2 positions, 3 technically, but the second position is a shorter variant, and yeah, that's where it just there we go. And it's a small stock, to say the least. Not a lot of comfortability, honestly, but then again, a lot of people just remove these, run them as is. You have a fully ambidextrous charging handle, so if you're right-handed or left-handed, you can still do that, exposing the rotary-style hop-up. And of course, that icon, that very much so venerable G&G gearbox. And believe me, it's not fully ambidextrous in the fire selector, sadly, but it does give us a very lovely jade fire selector, which I do love the metal bits, I really do. The flash hider is actually somewhat reminiscent of the Warthog flash hider, if you remember the Warthog G&G gun. All M-LOK, of course. I do love this design, honestly. It kind of gives off the fact that this is just a simple blowback gun. There's no really need of a gas system, it's just a simple blowback. I wish they would have made a smaller ejection port, but then again, a lot of PCCs nowadays actually just use a full-size ejection port instead of just trying to cut it down to make it into an actual full-on, yeah. I do like the shorter, I don't know how to feel about the shorter bolt assist. It does get in the way because, you get what I'm saying, I'm just semantics by this point in time. But this is where we get to the fun bit of the magazine. The magazine is a lovely high cap of about 200-ish rounds, around 300, and it is designed off of the Glock mag. Yes, I know everyone can make their jokes about the fact that I don't like Glock. It's not that I don't like Glock, it's that the fandom around the Glock ruined it for me. But the other thing, though, is that this will not accept, sadly, classic Army mags. You're probably thinking I'm lying on that. Let me grab a classic Army mag and I will show you. Here's a classic Army / Lancer Tactical magazine. Here's the G&G Combat Machine, the ARP9. Probably wondering why it won't accept this. And you're wondering if it's compatible with the other. No, it's not. The reason it's not is because it needs that lovely little notch in the magazine for it to actually work. Not only that, but it is designed completely different, considering that the back ends, if you can see it very well, protrudes more than the G&G, which you could, in theory, if you sanded this down, actually run this in a G&G, but I'm afraid that ain't gonna happen. And while, yes, you could very well, of course, run that in the Classic Army's PCC, if you cut out a notch into it, I wouldn't recommend it, honestly, but that's completely your prerogative, of course. This is a mid-cap, by the way. Now, with that said, of course, what is the price tag of this bad boy? This bad boy comes in at sub $300 at $280 something. If you get it on sale, you know, you can do it either way. Basically, that's the base price tag for all these models. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of understand why. It is a well-built gun. It's up to G&G standards. There is a lot going on with this gun, and legitimately, I do kind of like it. It's definitely something I like. Now, the stock I do not like. I absolutely do not like the stock, but of course, removing it just causes it to be a pseudo little submachine gun type deal. Of course, making it a proper quote-unquote pistol under the ATF designation, since it doesn't have a stock. It's just a buffer tube here, making it a actual, like, pistol, basically. Again, under the ATF designation.
Of course!
Now, to access the battery compartment, you take this right here, you press on the back here, and you just flip out, giving you, and exposing, of course, the small Tamiya, or I guess nowadays, regular Tamiya connector with the programmable ETU and fuse, MOSFET, what have you. You don't really have a lot of space in there for larger batteries, but basic, like, small batteries will fit in there. I've tried to fit a lot of batteries in these things. Just, yeah. Anyway, putting that back in, you then, of course, take this, put the top in first, if I can get it in there, top in first, and then you press the button again, and make sure she is nice and secured. Unlike what the design fools you into thinking, oh, it's a twist. It's not a twist, it's an actual latch release on the rear point. This does, of course, expose the sling point here. There are no sling points on the handguard itself, but you could actually put some sling points on there if you wanted. I do like the design of the handguard, if I'm going to be honest. It's definitely got this interesting, aggressive look to it. The M-LOK, if you like it, you like it. The trigger guard, however, I do like that bit of aggressive look. The flat trigger, of course, is very nice, very responsive. The rate of fire is also very good on full auto. The fire selector is very snappy, I'm not going to lie. and definitely can be manipulated with just one hand. The buttstock, however, is once again my biggest gripe because, there we go. Yep. Shit. There we go. Definitely now locks in place. I don't know. I guess I'm just weird when it comes to buttstocks like this. I like the ability to be able to have several different positions, I guess. I don't know. I just don't like the stock. That is kind of my only gripe. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not stopped me from shouldering the gun. I just have a love-hate relationship with it. Let's go with that. Alright, let's go with that. Anyway, enough, honestly, of my gabbing. Let's go ahead, get to the gameplay itself, and actually see this thing in action.
Get set up in the buildings after you get that thing going. Yeah, I'm moving.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm good. What the fuck? Nick, that you?
Yeah, I'm close here. This guy across the creek.
All right.
Mini bridge.
Got it. Let me see if I can get an angle on him. All right, you stay right there, right?
Building right in front of you across the creek. Still on my side.
I'm not going now. Woo! Oh, that scared me. Yes?
Out the axle. Watch the windows.
I see you. Sorry for overshooting. Didn't know if you pulled it out.
Your gun's breaking? We're in Long John Silver's. If you can make it over to me, you can get the ARP9. I'll run pistol. I'll copy. Yeah!
2 across the creek, far right.
Fair warning, 2 across the creek, far right.
All right.
Yeah, far right, he said.
What's all right? Like what is it?
Send traffic. Ah, head! Al the whole team. I'm gonna try and make my way on the trench and clear that out. range. Negative. Nothing yet. Wait. We got a guy moving far back. I don't know if he got hit or not. Yeah. Yeah, apparently the gun was the one beeping. Yeah, someone have to learn.
So, you're probably wondering, why did the gun die? Well, if you listen to the gameplay itself and you hear the beeping actually is the MOSFET. It's the MOSFET basically saying the battery's dying, it's getting low on power, and it is literally no longer a viable battery, and it will shut off the gun to protect the internals and all that good jazz. I like that, don't get me wrong, that's actually kind of cool. In the middle of a game, not exactly great. But, overall, where does this fall in the score? Price tag alone is definitely going to turn away a lot of people who are on a budget, so that does affect the score. But everything else still gives it a very high score. The build construction, the design of it, the actual performance, the legendary G&G hop-up and gearbox, and just overall, that performance, just that performance, gives it no more, no less than a 9 out of 10. A must own for anyone who loves G&G and for anyone who loves a PCC and wants something that has some cool features to it and wants to, say, do a cyberpunk build off of. The parts are already chromed up. All you gotta do is just add your own flavor to the body itself. And again, while the magazine may not be compatible with others, you can get these magazines, and you can even get a drum mag for this. That is something that I do actually like. Now, you're probably asking, why didn't I include that in the score? This thing should be an 8 if the magazines are an issue. Well, no, because do you know how many other guns have had magazine issues and magazine compatibility issues over the years? Even nowadays? If I include that in every single gun, you'd be surprised how low the scores would be on a lot of them, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL. And once again, a huge shout out to the Pew Dude who actually let me have the ability to do this review. And if you want to help out with future reviews, consider checking out the links down below. You know the drill by this point. Cool 9mm blank adapter for Thunderbees. Blanks will come in, I promise you guys, they're coming, okay? I'm not like George R.R. Martin that says the dragons are coming and takes a long ass time for them to arrive. No, I'm dead serious this time. They are coming. They are coming. And, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help support the channel even further and help sponsor reviews, then check out the tier list down below for media reviews. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been AirsoftAL, and next time, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at a boomstick and see if it's worth the money. Till next time.